All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Brown with AltE Store. Super excited to have Brad Berwald here from Morningstar to talk about the integrated series of products. So welcome, Brad. Good to have you here.
Thanks, Chris. Good to be here. Thank you very much, and it's good to be together again at another virtual event. So,
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun over the years at virtual events and in-person events, and I always really enjoy getting a chance to chat with you one-on-one. We've definitely had some cool visions of this industry over time, right?
yeah, definitely, and it says a lot about renewables that we're we're in it after all these years. It's just one that it's part of you, part of your soul going forward. So, really happy to continue to participate, and really excited to talk about the GenStar today.
Yeah, no, this is going to be great. So, just a couple of housekeeping things. First, there is a chat over here, so I'm just going to type hello. As we go through the presentation, feel free to go ahead and ask questions. I'm going to grab those, and at the end of the presentation, we'll do a Q&A. And so, as you go, just type your questions in, and we'll take those. And if you're watching this as a recording, we have a questions section on the AltE website on a per product page where you can ask follow-up questions there if you don't happen to have your question answered. So I'll at the end of the presentation, I'll show you where you can leave questions at a later point. Also, next to the chat box, you'll see there's handouts. There's a copy of the presentation. There's the brochures for the GenStar and the ReadyBlock. And then also, this presentation will be sent, a link to this will be sent to you after. So if you have to step away for a little bit, just know you'll get a copy of the presentation to you. So without further ado, Brad, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Chris. Good to get started. So, welcome everyone. Thanks again to AltE and Chris Brown for having me today. Always enjoy talking about products. I've been with Morningstar now for over 21 years, so a very long tenure here and supporting a lot of off-grid solutions. I've seen Morningstar change, I've seen the industry change, but the one thing that hasn't changed is it's all about battery charging and storage. They've come in and out of different chemistries throughout the years, and of course now it's extremely prominent, as we know, for ESS systems and grid tie. But I'm going to talk about the GenStar. It's a leading product and a first of its kind, I would say, within in the industry, and definitely for Morningstar. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means and how it's more than just a charge controller. It brings together or integrates system level control for a remote power system. So I'll be covering a lot of those features today. And again, I work at Morningstar as director of product marketing. So you've probably seen me at many dealer events over the years, trade shows, hosting virtual events such as this one, and really just excited to continue to tell you what's new with our product line. Okay, so moving forward, the GenStar. So the GenStar, let's talk a little bit about its core features. So this is our latest charge controller. As you see in the logo there in the top, we do have our products kind of categorized now in different types of series of products. So you kind of know what to expect from that family. And the Morningstar is the first in the integrated series. And what that essentially means is that its capabilities and functionality, in addition to its just sheer size and power, it can cover a lot larger system and definitely can scale in parallel to tens of kilowatts. We do a lot of large industrial systems. Telecom is a really key market for us, so it's not uncommon to see 30, 40 kilowatts of energy in a remote power system. So the integration series brings together external control, a lot of data, helps you manage your load, but not just a simple on off. We can do multiple loads, get all that power and measurement of that data in one place, and of course provide a variety of monitoring capabilities. There's also, as you see with a lot of these systems, whether it comes to charging or GenStar control or integrating other capabilities in that remote power system, having the logic and the automation behind making those changes, we would say at the edge, right at the system itself versus remotely controlled, is really key. And that's where you'll see the GenStar does extremely well. So the first thing to talk about is our oversized PV array input capability. And it's not always common knowledge, but I'll say it again to make sure it's understood, is that Morningstar's MPPT controllers can be oversized, meaning you can put more wattage on them than they are rated for continuous handling for power output. And why this is more advantageous than ever is because modules are lower costs. You always want more solar when you can afford it, and typically it's more affordable than ever. And also, it allows you to, clip the power and provide consistent output during the day when you've got plenty of sun. But in the days when you don't have so much, you've got that much larger of an array to begin with. So it really helps to equalize and provide more consistent power output, which is something that everyone's trying to strive to do with a remote power system. Best-in-class efficiency, as you can see from the heatsink. Another of our signature features is the fanless design, and the reason we're able to enable that convection-only cooling, even on a product that's rated for continuous output of up to 5,000 watts, is the high efficiency. So if you're doing a nominal 48-volt array and a 48-volt battery, it's typical to see 99% efficiency, which means we're converting very little of that power to heat, keeping the product lasting longer, keeping the enclosure much cooler, and delivering more of that energy into the batteries. The support for all battery chemistries is also key. As you're familiar with our energy storage partner program, a lot of our programmable products are easily adapted to charge a variety of chemistries, including lithium, and the GenStar is no different, also bringing even more presets and capabilities and functionality, as well as integrated direct communication with key lithium batteries on the market. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Unlike the TriStar, which is a charger only, we actually brought load control back into this product. So it is since it's optimized for industrial systems and large power, 30 amps of load control is built in. So you'll find that is very similar to how our ProStar family and Sunsavers have kind of managed the load all along. But in this case, you can use multiple load options as well. And we'll go into that in a little bit later. The product's available in 60, 80, and 100 amp output options. So 3 key models, starting at the 60 where the TriStar MPPT left off and going much larger. So with 100 amp continuous output, you're looking at about 5,000 watts of delivered power. And with the oversizing capability, which is actually 150% of rating, you're looking at about 7,500 watts of PV you can put on a single 100 amp GenStar, and it will reliably run at full power all day long, get that battery charged. And then if you need even more than that, you can parallel the systems. Connectivity options, extensive. We were the first to bring standard Ethernet to our products, and now you'll find them in almost every product we're releasing. I mean, IP data connectivity is just extremely popular and easy to work with, with all types of wireless communications. We offer the EIA 485 bus as well. We offer something called MS-CAN, which is CAN bus that you're familiar with, but it's the Morningstar proprietary CAN bus link. And that has a lot of potential in future products as we continue to release others with that to allow them to talk to each other and share control and share data. Of course, we've got USB-C, always a favorite, and Bluetooth, which is new. It's in every product, but it has only recently been able to be unleashed on the market. And that's one of the things I'm talking about today. So when you look inside the controller here with our X-ray view, you'll see just one of up to 4 inductors that may be used to handle that MPPT functionality. So like a mini cylinders in an engine, we can use them for high power, low power, turn them on and off as needed. It's like a gearbox with 4 different gears that we can put to use to keep efficiency high and keep cooling down and make sure you're on that power point tracking spot. So we overspec these components. They're designed for extremely high temperatures. That 4-phase design is what I just spoke about. So it kind of optimizes things all along the way. Because you'll notice with a lot of other products, if they just have that one big inductor in there, it typically means they have one optimal power point. But if they go off that, either too low or too high, energy and efficiency and self-consumption is less than ideal. So we kind of are able to control that more actively. Internal thermal paths, of course, no forced air, no fans. You don't have to worry about that, but we get the heat out in other ways with reliable convection cooling. Our high-speed software continues to evolve. We've used actually an entirely new platform for this product, a very sophisticated line of processors that gives us a lot of capabilities. We have a real-time clock in this product because a lot of systems, whether it's lighting control or the timing for external charging or other types of load applications, having a real-time clock that is something you can synchronize with the internet and make sure that all of your features and automations are executed exactly when you want them. We have a built-in web server. That is our LiveView web app, which I'll be showing later at the end of the presentation. And what that does is provides a full HTML interface, whether you're using a phone, a tablet, a PC, a Mac. That website will be served right up from the controller and allow you to see directly from that product, without internet, if needed, what is going on with that system. And it's a really state-of-the-art graphics, but yet very small, and it comes right inside of the controller. So backlit LCD, of course, for very easy monitoring. Also, the first for the integration series, and another hallmark of this platform is the ReadyBlocks. And these are expandable accessories that can be added to the device to provide additional functionality. And I'll be going over the features there, but it allows your system to grow, work with different, if you want to do more control, if you want to do current measurement, if you want to interface digitally with batteries, we can provide those options. Of course, extremely robust terminals, as always, from Morningstar. This is, not a product that's, for the hobbyist. It's one that's well engineered. Of course, UL listed components throughout. So moving on, the ReadyRail system. So what this does is it gives expansion capabilities for those blocks. You can see them on the right there. They're housed under that enclosure. They click onto an internal DIN rail, and they get both power as well as communications and even firmware updates from the GenStar itself. And they can be mixed and matched. You can use 1, 2, or 3. You could use 3 of all of the same type if you desired. And those are sold separately and allow you to configure the system. So quick overview. First is our Ready BMS, and that block communicates with the BMS that is in a lot of lithium batteries that are on the market now. So that's typically done via CAN bus or RS-45. We can use either. And it's got those RJ45 ports and connect to those batteries. We're supporting several already, with many more to come. And we're always interested in hearing which batteries you're using in the market. So with that interface, we have digital control. In some cases, it actually enables a higher current charge rate through closed loop control. And at the very least, we're able to get the data out of those batteries as well. So you can see things like state of charge and state of health right in the GenStar interface. And most importantly, you can take action based on that data as well, which is extremely handy, as you'll see here soon. So that's the Ready BMS. And of course, I do want to mention that, of course, you can charge most lithium batteries open loop, just charge them like a regular battery as you have lead acid, but the digital interface does provide several key benefits. The Ready Shunt allows the connection of up to 2 shunts to the system, and those can take a variety of roles, all which can be set up in the display. And that is, of course, state of charge, a new feature. It'll measure all of your energy in and out of the system, as well as current measurement for other sources or loads. So you can see energy going in and out of the battery as a whole globally across the entire system, using up to a 500 or even 1,000 amp shunt if you wanted to. But you can also put branch shunts in as well. Since you can measure 2 shunts per block and you can add up to 3 blocks, the capabilities are quite extensive. And we have the ability to then, use that data. Is it a charging source? Is it a load that's going out? Or are we just doing, net battery management? And then lastly, the Ready Relay, straightforward design. Everyone that was a fan of our past relay products, and in the case of the relay driver, know what kind of auxiliary control and kind of capabilities this product brought. And now we're bringing direct relays, dry contacts, 2 of them right in its block. And then where it really gets smart is when it interfaces with the control system of the GenStar itself, and you can set up all kinds of functionality. So if you've got a dump load you want to activate, or you want to turn on a fan, or you want to turn off multiple loads, maybe in priority, start a generator, there's all kinds of options there. So this is quite a slide, and I'll take just a few minutes on there to kind of explain, because this really is the single slide that best sums up what the integration series products do, in this case, the GenStar, because there's a lot of sophistication and a lot of capabilities, and we think we've got most of the needs in off-grid power covered. So we'll start at the top left there. Of course, I discussed communications. We have wireless communications with Bluetooth, and of course, a mobile app available for either Android or iOS. and that allows you to connect wirelessly to the device and see what's happening inside the system. And like all software, that's going to continue to grow and evolve and gain new capabilities. Along the top there, you can see the connectivity options. You'll see that we have, the ability to send that IP data out of the Ethernet connection, and we work with a variety of industries that prefer one protocol or another to connect to the DryStar or to the GenStar, and to be able to control it, to log that data from anywhere in the world. IoT is a big area of development, as is telecommunications. So you'll see we support SNMP, HTTP, which is the web interface, which works when maybe others don't, because it's just a website that can display data on a nice clean dashboard. And of course, Modbus. That's the data choice for SCADA, for automation and control for the energy systems that you see a lot of grid tie inverters use, such as the SunSpec standards. So all that is available over Ethernet and of course Modbus. Then on the right, you'll see dry contact signaling. So any kind of relay use you can think of, you can program it. And with that, it adds the capability of using our sophisticated internal scheduling and automation logic that you can set up within the GenStar. And you combine that with current measurement in the system and the ability to talk to the batteries and get that SOC data. There's really not too much that you can't either measure or take action on. So, and then as we move along the bottom, support for advanced batteries. Obviously, lithium is really nice, as it's with that direct CAN bus interface, you get plug and play capability, but we still offer full extensive programming and the ability to save custom battery configurations. Advice given by an integrating expert, by the battery manufacturer. Maybe you're using something with, a little more calcium in the battery, or you're using NiCads. There's a variety, lithium iron phosphate, depending on those types of charging systems, a lot of tools are there for you. And then lastly, along the bottom, working with generators, and more recently, we've seen a lot of additional interest and gains in the market by fuel cells. They're smaller, they're very reliable. The fuel has an extremely long, stable life compared to gasoline or diesel. And we see those being integrated more and more often. And we give you the ability to control those sources, turn them on and off, integrate the current. You can see the current flow right alongside your solar energy current. It's extremely useful. And then, of course, the SureSign, also a product that's been covered in some of our other presentations, but the SureSign is a full line of low frequency off-grid inverters, anywhere from 150 watts up to 2,500, all the typical battery voltages, and both domestic and international systems, grid voltages. And that actually can communicate directly. And if you need AC power with the GenStar, that is a great option, and definitely an inverter, of which there are many, but this product is in a class all its own with the Morningstar treatment. So that kind of sums up, and let's not forget the solar array on the left here. This is the charge controller after all, but that's really a given. But when you bring all this control and capability together in this product, you can see really what it can accomplish. And just a little bit of a past view is you can see that we've supported a lot of these systems before. We've provided, of course, the dry contact control of the relay driver. That's been, quite a beneficial kind of Swiss Army knife for any of those needs you may have. We provided SNMP capabilities and Ethernet functionality as an add-on with our EMC1. We've provided our parallel capabilities, charge controllers, and also TriStar PWMs in load control mode, now integrated into a single device. And then for anyone that had to get third-party products for battery monitoring or to interface with Lithium BMS, those extra pieces of hardware had to be purchased, and they weren't a Morningstar product. But now a lot of those product features are being integrated into the GenStar. So we're very pleased to provide, more power and system consolidation and easier design, and likely saving costs and complexity as well. So that's kind of sums up the GenStar's overall capabilities. Really, those integrators were asking us for a lot of these features all along. Reduces that complexity. Really, the integration of the cabling and the power and the software setup, really makes things simple going forward. And it was built for this industrial design. Here we kind of show some mounting locations. Can fit in tight spaces. Can be paralleled together with other systems. The meter is standard, as is an SD card, and that SD card provides not only a lot of data logging capability. Flash is extremely cheap, and a 4 gig card, which is available with the product, is going to store years of data. And it's also a way which you can load firmware updates as well. So you don't even need a device or a computer. You can just load it off the SD card rapidly in a production environment or in the field. Of course, all your powers and COM connections on the front there, including the coin cell. We do use a tiny lithium CR2032. If you have seen the battery inside of your car's key fob, that's the same one, and it gives you about a decade of real-time clock backup, so that even when power is cycled and systems turn on and off, you'll always have that real-time clock, and the device is able to maintain those settings. And then, of course, the access bay for the relays on the ReadyBlocks on the right side there. So that's kind of how the configuration would work. So this is a quick glimpse at our LiveView 2.0. LiveView 1 did have and continues to be offered on our EMC 1 as sort of a web interface that people are really fans of because they like the simple web page format. But the next generation adds a lot of sophistication in a responsive. That means if you turn your tablet to a portrait, or you're using a small screen or a large screen, or 2 or 3 monitors like I do at work, you've got a lot of capability to resize that dynamically. And it gives you kind of placement of the dashboard. You can customize it, and I'll give you a little run through of that here shortly. So that web app is built into that product and will be a recurring feature on a lot of Morningstar's controllers going forward. So one of the things to talk about specifically with LiveView is the external source control. And you're saying, well, you're a charge controller, so you manage the solar energy. Of course, you've got to have load control. If the battery gets too low, you've got to be able to turn that off, or maybe provide some timing if it's a lighting control and you want to do things with dusk till dawn. But a top question that everyone asks us is, I've got a micro hydro turbine, a wind turbine, a fuel cell, an external charging source because I've actually got grid for backup. I've got a genset. I've got rectifiers. I've got a thermoelectric generator is what is often used in the oil and gas industry. All kinds of additional power sources. And the top question is, how do I get that to play well with the GenStar so that I can see it, that it's not going to conflict with the solar energy, which I want to use first before I burn fuel? And how do I make sure they don't interfere with each other? And that's where external source control comes in. You can put all kinds of charging sessions in place when it's allowed to charge, when it cannot, when it's prioritized, one ahead of the other. You can make it charge based on voltage, on available or lack of solar energy production. You can make it charge based on state of charge, in conjunction with other systems as well. So that whole program and scheduling mix can be set up here. And you'll see that we have a 7-day schedule. And what that means is that it's not just a schedule that can occur the same every day, because of course we've got a clock. You can use any kind of timing sequence you want, but you might want something to only run during the week, maybe only on the weekend, maybe just on Thursdays. So you can check that box, put that schedule in, up to 4 of them that overlap, and then it will run that schedule. So it's an incredibly powerful tool for anyone that's used our lighting controllers over the years or the relay driver. This takes that functionality and really takes it to the max in terms of programming options. A little bit more about battery charging. In this case, all these presets that that we have worked with other battery partners that we've known throughout the years to program into the product so that you've got them kind of ready to go. You can then take those standard presets, copy them over, and then customize them further based on your needs. You can, of course, integrate with the battery BMS, and that's a direct link to the battery, many of which are supported by Luntech, Discover, and many others. I think Weco is a recent addition, though, that is just coming, and that direct link provides a lot of benefits, including in the case of closed loop. If you're not familiar with that term, what happens is the battery actually provides a communication to the controller stating what it's willing and able to accept in terms of current, so that you can get the highest charge rate possible. That's really important in energy storage systems, and it's just as important with off-grid systems, because we might charge very big batteries, sometimes with a generator at very high charging rates. Lithium is really good at those high C rates, and talking to the battery and making sure that we're able to put in that much current, and the battery's kind of allowing the controller to do that is a key kind of cycle or loop of control, and that's what closed loop really enables. Some of the advanced settings you then can see are a little customizations like of your absorption stage, your equalization, your boost charge, advanced charging stages, temperature compensation. Cold lithium batteries don't like to accept a high level of charge if they're extremely cold. We can fold that back. A lot of capabilities there. So here's the scheduler in a lot more detail, and you can see some various routines that have already been programmed with that 7-day, 24-hour schedule. And that shows you the conditional logic there. For instance, your generator might only run on Tuesdays when there's not adequate solar between the hours of 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. And then there are intervals where you can provide an interruption. If something else like the grid is down, you can charge, but if the grid is up, it will disable that. Endless possibilities, and we look forward to doing even more applications and use cases as well for these types of programming, basically. So to kind of summarize the GenStar, it's really designed for, as I said, oversized arrays. You've got those load control options back in. You've got expansion capabilities with the ReadyBlocks to customize it for different system needs. It takes place of a lot of external equipment, including SoC now, so you don't need that system meter, which is always a bit of a hassle to integrate. The advanced battery management, hybrid system management, really getting access to that data with that extensive data logging capability, as well as getting to it remotely, and the standard meter and web interfaces, really bring a lot of value. So now, just to break off a little bit here, I'd like to talk about some of the recent updates. The exciting thing about the integration series as a whole, and the GenStar as being the first of the integration series, is that it's a really capable software platform. We really beefed up the entire system, and when I say platform, it's the MPPT engine, it's the communications, it's our code and software, it's the extra capabilities that we've baked into the products over the years, such as SNMP and web interfaces. And with a lot of room to grow and a lot of processing capability, you'll sometimes see with your mobile phones that you'll buy it brand new and they'll say it's going to get the next 3 operating system updates, as the phone gets better. I would say that this is a similar path, because as we have more capabilities, we're always turning on additional functionality, and the firmware updates are available on our website to be loaded at any time to take advantage of that. So the first one is Bluetooth. A really common request, being able to interface using just your mobile phone, the ability to, of course, see what's going on while you're not right in front of the controller, depending on the wireless range. And we actually integrated a Bluetooth radio chipset into the product. And then as it's become active, so if you've got a GenStar or you've got Bluetooth, as long as you are at least on version 1.1.6 or later. So if you're not, stay tuned and I'll show you how to do that firmware update. So definitely check out that functionality, as well as download either the Android or the iOS app. Both are supported for the GenStar and available, of course, in those respective app stores. And this provides great capabilities with a really well-designed app that kind of gives you the ability to slide between dashboards, select different aspects of the system, and see a real-time update of what's happening. And of course, we do have questions regarding Bluetooth. Can I turn it off as well if I don't want to use it? A lot of customers may use it to check on the system, to aid in their configuration and what's happening, and then they disable it, turn it off, close the cabinet, and walk away. So that's a key aspect. We always want to be very security minded at Morningstar, given we power utility systems, telecommunications, oil and gas operations. So that's very important for us. And in the case of the mobile app, you can see here several different screens. We've got the overall dashboard on the left there that kind of gives you a summary of your power coming in, the state of your battery, and the power going out. Various configurations that have been made, including your network, IP connectivity, even the status on the right. You can see the ReadyBlocks are featured there as well, so you can see what's happening with the blocks. What is the current being measured? Is my battery interface operating correctly? And we hope for many more exciting features to come as well. The next feature I wanted to talk that is also very new, and this is into version 2.0.10, is the Ready Shunt. It now has integrated state of charge capabilities built into the shunt. So if you are using a chemistry, lead acid, or possibly others, and you want to get a, voltage is helpful at times. Use that battery voltage as a trigger for a lot of control systems. But as you know, it tends to sag when the battery's under load. It kind of rises a little higher than normal when it's under charge, and there's a lot of kind of bounce there. A state of charge percentage, as we all know from all of our mobile devices, is a much easier way to kind of see the state of your battery. So for that reason, we integrated state of charge capability. When you have a net shunt integrated in the system on the positive leg of the battery, it's able to see all power going into the battery system, and that could be from the GenStar or from other devices. And it's also able to see everything going out, which could be through the load control side of the GenStar, or it could be something that you've connected directly to the battery. So that SOC measurement will be calculated based on amp hour counting in and out of the battery net shunt. And as I said, that could be for lead acid. It could be for lithium as well if you don't have a direct digital interface, and definitely for other chemistries. So we're very excited to release this. It is a function of the block itself. Each of our blocks has a small processor, and when that block is connected to the GenStar with that system version, then that shunt block will be updated to offer this capability. And that's exciting because that means any product that uses the ReadyBlocks, which will be others in the future, can take advantage of this SOC calculation as well. So we're very excited about that. Some of the benefits of why you'd want to use not only state of charge, is it a lot easier to read and make decisions based on, is that you now get a lot of very high level of current measurement into the battery. We're not just using voltage for control. We can go, you can ensure that you undergo a complete state of charge to make sure your battery's getting to that kind of end stage of absorption when it's absolutely 100%. You have the initial bulk, just like our phones, they charge very quickly to 80%, but then they start to slow down, and there's a little bit more conditioning going on during that last 10 to 20%. The same is true with larger battery systems. That absorption stage, we're monitoring the current very closely and just kind of trickling it down to a very minimum as the battery approaches 100% state of charge. So that kind of end of charge tail current is something we can see now very well, no matter where that is coming from, whether it's a controller or outside of it. And it enables the ability to now make all those logic decisions based on those triggers. So you can use SOC, and it actually kind of, you can still use battery voltage, but it can replace battery voltage for some of these decisions and make them even more accurate. Starting and stopping generators, turning on or off multiple prioritized loads, depending on how much power you have, diverting excess energy. All those are options now. And the biggest benefit, of course, is it's going to record your long-term battery charge trends. So you can kind of see, did I hit 100% day after day? Am I, peaking out at only 80%? Maybe you don't have enough solar resource, or your system sizing is in question. Really, really helpful data that's logged now. And that incorporates, as I said, all those sources. So if you've got a rectifier charging the battery, wind turbines, a top question of our customers over many years, the time I've been with Morningstar, is I've got a wind turbine, but obviously it can't go through the solar controller, so it's right on the battery, but I can't see the current. What do I do? And there's not really a good option from the solar controller. But now with this state of charge capability, you'll see not only the amps and amp hours, but it'll contribute to the state of charge calculation. And then lastly, all of that data that I just explained is, of course, available in the configuration for the data capabilities. So all this data wouldn't be nearly as powerful as if you weren't able to get, as if you couldn't get it out of the site. So we enable that to be remotely pullable via, the web dashboard, and of course Modbus protocol for all of these systems. So those two new features, really excited to have those on the market. There's even more to come, which I'll touch on just briefly here. But if you are looking to keep your GenStar at its latest and greatest potential with these new benefits, state of charge and Bluetooth, definitely make sure you take a look at our firmware page on our website. You just grab a single file there, unzip it, and then you can load it in two methods. You can either load it using the web browser using the LiveView interface, or you can actually copy that to an SD card and load the firmware from the SD card. And the reason that's beneficial is if you're in the field, you can just grab that SD card from your shirt pocket, you can load it, or what we see is a lot of systems. We work with a variety of OEMs doing really sophisticated system integration. It's not uncommon to see dozens of our controllers in a production facility being configured for the same process over and over. So being able to replicate those settings or rapidly update firmware and just take it from device to device to device to keep those all updated before they ship into the field is a really handy feature. And you can just see there the update firmware, and you get the ability to find that file, load it, upload it to the device. The device will go through a little bootload process there, and then it will reboot itself. And when it starts up, it's on the new operating system. So luckily, everyone has been through that many times, I'm sure, with all those household devices. I even updated the firmware on my light bulb the other day. So everything has firmware now. We need to get used to that. So just a couple quick previews, and then I'll move to a little overview of the LiveView demo. The GenStar now has a capability of utilizing the real-time operating system. This is the free RTOS platform, and that's where a lot of this benefit comes from. It's actually an Amazon product in terms of it being supported. It is an open source tool. It is freely available, and you will find that it is a really capable and secure platform that enables this kind of multi-threaded operating system. In other words, that we're not just charging a battery, we're charging a battery, managing a generator, logging all the data. We're talking Modbus, SNMP, and serving a web page all at the same time from one product. So we've got to keep it secure, we've got to keep it efficient, and most of all, make sure that it's reliable. So something that is not going to crash or lock up on you. So we're really excited about that new benefit, and it is a open source platform that grows and keeps getting better, just like the GenStar. SNMP support, you may have seen this offered on the EMC. It's standard there to enable that, and now it is the EMC is no longer required with the GenStar. SNMP will be built into the product by default, and it is available via the Ethernet connection. So if you're in the security industry or the telecom industry, or you just happen to use a network management system like Zabbix is a great example that many of our customers use. You can now get that data via SNMP, and it is a really common way of integrating not only the energy data, but the the megabytes and the bandwidth and the other network access data as well on a single system. So you just load this MIB file that is available with the software. It's kind of like a tree structure that provides a map of everything that's available via SNMP. Your NMS will know exactly what to do with it. You point to the IP address of the GenStar, and it will start pulling data. It's excellent. And we also recently added in the newer version the ability to define communities within SNMP. So if you like to group your systems together, certain systems at a site, or maybe by customer name, or depending on the type of camera or telecom system or the network carrier that's powering that, they will use different communities to kind of group them together. And that's something that can be managed over SNMP as well. And then you can see great data available. And this is from our partner Zabbix, who supports SNMP for Morningstar products and is a favorite and very well supported network management software platform. Definitely check them out. And then a couple other additional things that are a little down the pipeline that I'll give a quick preview of. That, of course, you've got integrated 30 amp load control now in the system, and you've also got relay control, which can control loads. It can control a 1 amp load, such as a fan. It could control a huge pump, such as the one on the right there. That relay is up to you to size and configure, and gives you a lot of capabilities. We see a lot of customers that will prioritize their loads, so they shut off the least essential ones first, and they keep the most important ones lower down the SOC tier, just in case they actually, do run out of store energy. But that's something we can definitely help with. And then you'll find that MS CAN, that CAN bus link, we have CAN bus available for the BMS block, but we also have a different type of CAN, Morningstar's CAN, on the controller itself. You'll see it on the SureSign, you'll see it on the GenStar. And this is a feature that is not fully released yet, but all of the hardware is there, and this will provide digital control so that Morningstar products talk well with other Morningstar products and do all kinds of nifty tricks. So keep an eye out for that one. And you can see here, if anyone's used a giant relay to control the DC side of your inverter to turn it on and off, just stop. We can give you dry contact control that gives you a digital switch on the sure sign, and then very soon down the road, the capability of interfacing with it digitally so that everything is all on the same page functionally. Okay, so that is the end of the presentation. So I will refer back to Chris here, and we will tackle some questions. But before I do that, Chris, 1 second, I am just going to pull up a quick overview of our LiveView interface so that people can see it in action. This is the LiveView interface. This will be about a 2-minute demo, Chris. And what I'll do is show you the flow diagram, in this case, the solar array, charge controller data, faults and alarms, ReadyBlocks, and all of this, as you'll see here, can be dynamically adjusted. If I don't need to see my errors, I can turn that off. If I'm not using ReadyBlocks, I can turn that off. And then I can rearrange my interface. And you'll even see that if I were to resize the system of the display, that it will dynamically change the arrangement of the display so that it's all in a vertical orientation. So if I was actually looking at this system on a mobile phone and I had a much smaller real estate of a screen, or I needed to turn it back to, the basically the widescreen view, all of that would dynamically adjust. And you can see this is updating in real time as my battery voltage fluctuates, the power of the array is changing, all that's available. And you see we've got commands and controls for load, counters, charger, external source control, switch relays on and off. We have extensive capabilities for data logging, for logging events in the system, for troubleshooting, and of course, measuring lots and lots of power, every amp hour in every different direction. We have full programmability of all the settings, and a lot of these are even dynamically linked so that when I say, oh, I need to change this IP address, I'm going to just click that, and then boom, it takes you right to the page where you can change those settings. So very helpful for programming, saving all those settings onto a file, and then of course, using all of your capabilities to, if I go into advanced mode, being able to provide that scheduling capability as well. So you can set up the schedules, program those blocks, and most importantly, enable some of the control functionality of the external source control. Okay, so that's just a brief overview. Here is this file update location. If you need to choose a file there, you can actually load it and then update your firmware as well. And that's done. Okay, so with that, I will turn it back over to Chris. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Brad. This was great. So we have a few questions that have come in. If other folks have questions, type them in chat, and I'll just kind of go through these. And then also, if you're watching the recording, there's a place on our site where you can post questions as well. So the first one is, what is the Ready Shunt millivolt ratings? 25 or 50 or both millivolt ratings?
It actually, we have a couple defaults that are in there for 50 or 100 millivolts, but it is something that can be customized. I will actually look, and we will get back to you with those settings, but we default to a setting, but there are several to choose from. So we can actually provide the ability to work with a variety of shunts. You'll see in the Ready Shunt that we have not only the control system itself, but we also do make the shunts available, the actual metal block that provides the current carrying capability. So you can get one, the other, or a kit. But if you want to use a shunt outside of that with a different millivolt rating, that is something that can be set up. So definitely like to get that information and provide a little follow-up there, because it's something that we made very flexible to kind of meet all those needs. Because you never know, you may have a 500 amp shunt, you might have a 20 amp shunt. We just don't know. So it's very flexible.
Cool. Well, we'll post that follow up on our website. I'll show everyone where in a moment. So then the next question seemed to be about the solar array sizing. And so I'm going to try to summarize Todd's question here. So when we're looking to size the solar array to go into, I'm just going to use the 60 amp GenStar as the example. So we'll just, for all intents and purposes, we'll just talk about the 60 amp, but it all, connects to the other sized ones. But, the first thing we want to do is make sure that our voltage is under 200 volts. Does that seem like the good first step when we're looking at our string sizes?
Yes, exactly. And I'll just say briefly that we can manage current, we can limit it, and we can deal with more power and use less of that available power because it's an MPPT controller, a buck converter. But the one thing we can't deal with is voltage that is higher than the rating of the product, because then power goes where it's not supposed to go because you've just jumped that gap because those products are not rated. So yeah, you must stay under 200 volts, even in cold temperatures. But wattage and current is something that can be limited by the product, and that's where the oversizing capability comes in.
Cool. So, like, for instance, we have these 370 watt modules, which we've been selling a ton of, and so they have a VOC of 34.2 volts, and then there is I would do a temperature correction as the next thing, and because I'm a little lazy, I just always go with 1.25 because you never know how cold it's going to be. But I guess you're in a warmer climate, you could derate by a smaller amount, but just to be on the safe side, do a 1.25 duration and then multiply. So that gives us 42.75 volts. And then multiply that by 4, I get 171. But if I go to 5, I'm over 200. So I would say for those 4 particular solar modules, those panels, I'm going to do no more than 4 in series. That sound right?
Yeah, that's correct. And that's one of the things you'll see is that our ProStar products have come up to 120, our TriStar at 150. And now with this product 200, and it really was to make room for that additional module. And one other quick comment, Chris, is if you look at our string sizer on the website, you can actually put in the module, the specs, and you can put in the record low temperature, and then it will take that temperature coefficient and calculate that. Clearly 1.25 is a great ballpark to make sure you don't exceed that, because it's going to be great in the summer, and that one sunny day in January where the array's ice cold and it gets hit with those morning rays is probably when you'll pop something if it's over 200. So that allows you to size for that.
Yeah, and we're up here in New England, so we do a lot of our sizings based on some extreme temperatures that we get out here. But if you're down in the tropics or anywhere nicer than New England or colder temperatures than that, you can get a little bit more aggressive there. And then we also have a chart on our website if you want to do the handwritten calculations, although the calculators are way more convenient. And that calculator link is also that's on the spec sheet for the GenStar. So if you download the handout that's on our site or in this presentation here, at the bottom is the array oversizing. Is that the right one to go to, Brad? The morningstarcorp.com/array oversizing?
Yes, yeah, that'll actually give you the background of why that is okay to do, how to deal with it, in the sizing, and then of course, to make sure that everyone knows that our controllers that will not stress the controller. They are designed to run run at that power level all day long. So also something we always want to make clear.
And then you have on the spec sheet I'm looking at here, you have a max power PV input, right? So basically, again, looking at the 60 amp. For 12 volts, it's 1200 watts, 2400 watts for 24 volts, and 4800 watts for 48 volts. But then you kind of point people to the array oversizing chart if they want to go over. So if we're looking, let's say we want to keep the voltage, we're going to keep it at 4 strings, but we want to see if we can push some additional strings in parallel, kind of get the current up there. There's got to be some sort of practical limitation to the current, right? I mean,
what happens is we say about 150 for the oversizing, because at some point you can actually make the array so big that the economy just doesn't help. Like, you're going to be limiting power all the time, which is just a waste of money. So that kind of economic ceiling gets hit. And then the other is if you get to a point where the IV curve is so dramatically difficult to work with, then it may cause some difficulty with the controller. So we kind of just give guidelines for the 150%. But we can definitely answer any questions there. Doug Grubbs, our applications engineer, typically the author and guru on all things oversizing, definitely can help out with that as well.
Cool. And then, so then the next question we have was regarding utility scale projects. Now, my understanding for Morningstar, you guys wouldn't deal with anything in the hundreds of megawatts size projects, right? We're really talking more for smaller size systems. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, typically, I mean, yeah, definitely not megawatts. Although, size is something that generally is a little larger than most people realize, even for off grid. For instance, we're regularly running, could be 6 to 8 charge controllers, and with the GenStar, you're looking at that could be as much as 50 or 60 kilowatts of power available, plus generators typically are common in those hybrid systems. So those would be kind of the extent of what we typically see as a common size. It's in no way small, but I wouldn't consider it, utility scale or megawatt. Those are still 48-volt batteries. They're just big systems.
Yeah. So I think the answer for Mike is that there's probably some other products for large utility scale applications that are better geared to, substation level projects of that scope. And then the next question we have is, does Morningstar plan to come out with some high voltage charge controllers, so 600 volt or 1200 volt charge controllers? You may have seen some of these others in the market. Is that something that's on the roadmap?
Yeah, and looking at the cost trade-off, the thermal trade-offs, and of course ease of sizing is something we're always looking at. We've done extensive reports of just kind of getting a view of solar modules, where they're sized at, how they're trending as they grow. As you know, the PERC cells provided a lot of power several years back. We saw the transition to the 60 cell and 72 cell, and now even larger. Maybe some of those may or may not be applicable to off-grid because they become too unwieldy, but they're all out there. And we do a lot of small systems too. 20 to 80 watts is still extremely common. Now, to answer your question, when we make those types of trade-offs, we have to choose very carefully the product ratings, because we're not looking for just a massive fan-cooled appliance kind of cabinet in your home. We have to still keep the industrial mindset when we do these designs. So I first want to make sure to say, very importantly, that we do have a 600 volt controller. The TriStar MPPT 600 has a similar string array voltage as a lot of grid tie inverters, and that will charge a 48 volt battery at up to, I'd say, about 3,200 watts continuous power, plus a little bit of oversizing capability that we just talked about. That product is available now. It's very useful for our customers that are looking for really long distance wiring runs. Sometimes the small cable size can make up for a lot of the costs of the controller because of the savings in copper alone. So definitely check that product out. Will we do anything between 200 and 600? That has yet to be seen. We're in discussions. We're just trying to find what's the right mix for the markets that we're serving. 1200 volt, I think when you get to that level, that's definitely pretty high. I don't think that's allowable on too many roofs or systems in the States, barring some kind of behind the fence utility scale applications, where it's a little bit of a different code structure. So, but I'd love to see that. One of the exciting things is with these gallium nitride and other types of MOSFETs and IGBTs, things are always getting bigger and more efficient. So we'll have to see what the future brings.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Brad. I want to really quick, before we end, share my screen and just show folks how they can find some of the Morningstar products on the AltE store website. So I'm going to share this here. Hopefully this works. Be a moment as it loads. All right, there we go. So this is the AltE store website, altestore.com. And if you go to shop all products, you can go browse by brand and then find Morningstar, and this will bring you all the Morningstar products that we carry. You can, of course, also do a search for GenStar, and they will pop right up. And then once you click on the GenStar product that you're looking for, we're going to have this very webinar is being advertised now, but we'll have a link to this webinar on the page. A couple things I just wanted to point out is that we do have the document section on the website, so you can download the various documents here. We have the different Ready Relay as add-ons, so you can just find the one that works for you. And then if you have questions on any of the products that we carry, you can go to the questions section and write your question here. And if it's not something our technical team will know, we'll reach out to Morningstar to get clarity and then post the questions here. So this is great. And then we also really love reviews. So if you have a chance to leave a review, please do so. Let's see. So then next up, I also wanted to share that we have the shore sign inverters. These were just added. And oh, here, Brad, you're right on the right on the main page of the shore sign.
There I am again.
And I don't know if that's it. So there's a lot of different iterations of the shore sign. So we put 9 of the most popular shore sign inverters on our site. So these are all here, 12, 24, 48 volt configurations. And if you happen to find a different shore sign inverter that you're looking for, give us a call and we'll be able to help you source that. There's just a lot of variations there. And one other thing I wanted to bring up was in regards to this kit here. So you can get the Ready Shunt block individually, but you can also get it with this 50 millivolt, 500 amp shunt, right? So if you don't have a shunt in your system yet, you probably want to go with a kit that has the shunt. If you have, some other power panel or somewhere there's a shunt already in the system or your planned one, it's already sourced, you then can go with the regular Ready Shunt without the additional one. But you definitely want, if you're going to be using that, you need a shunt of some sort, right, Brad?
Yeah, that's right. We give you the option of allowing you to bring your own shunt if you already have one or using it from another source, but we do offer a kit. And I just want to mention too, since that question came up earlier, it looks like from Steven in the chat, I did actually pull up the LiveView site on the side here. And Steven, we support 50 or 100 millivolts. Okay, so you have a choice of those two for the shunt. That's the drop. And then, of course, you put in the full scale amperage rating. So it could be anywhere from 20 to 1,000 amps. But that's fully customizable. So, and then, yeah, as Chris said here, you can also get the shunt and the block together as a kit right here from AltE.
Cool. And then finally, this is our Black Friday sale. So it is currently November 2023. This video may be online for a while, but we do have Black Friday coming up. So this sale will be available for the rest of the month. We're going to be announcing it for our Black Friday sale, but wanted to give everybody in the presentation now, or who may be watching a little bit later, that there is a bundle deal that if you buy a HLX 1200, we will give a free SureSign 1500 watt 12 volt inverter. So that is a $300 inverter that you'll get for free if you purchase the HLX 1200. And so if you want to go and find that, you just go to the hot deals section of the AltE store website and you'll find the bundle deal right here. So that's a really, really awesome, this is what, like our doorbuster, right, to get a lot of people in. So this will be going out to the mass public here later next week as we get past Thanksgiving, but just wanted to give everybody on the presentation here a quick head start on that. So I'll stop sharing, and we're just about at the top of the hour. So Brad, I think we've gotten this down to a science. I think we got a minute and 30 left of the hour, and we certainly know how to keep time, right?
Yep, definitely. Well, good. Well, thanks very much. And yeah, those are exciting deals. I hope to see clips on the news of, Black Friday, people breaking down the door, rushing in to grab those SureSigns as quick as they can with those batteries. So.
Oh boy. Well, yeah. Hopefully stay online. I'll be sitting here in the same office. So.
That's right. Good thing we've got digital commerce, right? That's
right. Yeah.
For everyone. So. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Great to present and be hosted by AltE and to see you again. So very much appreciated.
Same. All right. Take care, everyone.
All right. Take care. Thanks.